Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing what was sort of requested by subscribers. I had put a poll on my community tab asking if you guys wanted to see 2 look 1 palette videos, and unanimously it was voted yes, 100% we want more looks. So one person specifically mentioned they wanted to see the Aurora Struck palette, and that was actually my first plan anyway because this is a new release. It's really pretty. I haven't had a lot of time to play with it, especially because it's so large. So that's what today's video is going to be. I'm going to do this a la Steph's Beauty Stash where she does one look and then the other look. I know Morgan Turner also does this. I will link their channels in the description box in case you don't know who they are, because they often do 2 look 1 palette videos, especially Steph, and you can get lots of great ideas from those girls. Anyway, if you've never been here before, hey, my name is Rachel. I am a homeschooling stay-at-home mom. I really enjoy playing with colorful eyeshadow, and I upload multiple videos every week that are all eyeshadow related content. So if you like what you see and you want to see more, remember to like and subscribe before you leave. Let's get going. As I always do, I am going to prime my eyes. I really like to use the Glamlight Icing Primer, and I use the shade White Frosting because my skin tone is kind of a medium depth, but the White Frosting shade really makes the shadows pop because it's a white base. So I don't know, I just like this one. I wasn't feeling very good this morning, and I ended up napping for a good part of the morning. And I have a 10-year-old daughter and then a toddler, so my 10-year-old is super helpful, especially if I'm not feeling well, because I'm also quite pregnant. At the time of filming, I've got a little less than 7 weeks to go. So I'm almost there, and I wasn't feeling great, so she took care of the toddler, which was very helpful. But now I'm feeling a little bit more alive, and I really want to have a productive afternoon because my morning was a bit of a bust. And sometimes making a video can wake me up a little bit, make me feel a bit more stimulated, because I have to sort of put myself together instead of schlepping around the house. So that's the main reason I'm doing this video today. The other reason is that I really wanted to, and I really wanted to play with this palette, and I just, you know, it all sort of coincided. When Morgan Turner used this palette, by the way, I can link her video. I said I would link her channel below. I'll link specifically the video where she uses the Aurora Struck palette because she did 2 very beautiful looks, and you can obviously get the rest of her channel content from that link. But anyway, when she used this palette, she divided it into 2 halves. Over here we have the brownish blues, and over here we have more the purple pink tones. So I think I'm going to do that myself. I'm going to break it into 2 halves. I'll do one look on one eye, the other look on the other eye, but I'm going to try not to copy what I've seen other people do, because I've watched a couple videos using this palette, and I don't want to just do what everyone else is doing. I want to make my own looks. So I'm going to start with a medium and fluffy blending brush, if I can find it. Here we go. I'm going to start with the shade Night Sky, and I'm going to put that as a wash of color in my whole crease. Now I have used this palette a couple of times so far, but I haven't filmed any of those times because I've just been playing with it by myself. When I talk about bringing this palette into my collection, which is a video that I can card above for you, is my 2022 holiday haul, I mentioned that I went into this palette with very specific expectations. Overall, I like ColourPop. I generally think that their mattes are good and their shimmers are okay. Their shimmers are not anything crazy, but they're good and they're pretty. I think ColourPop is falling a little bit behind if you compare them to the indie brands, in particular the shimmers. And so I was very much on the fence about grabbing this palette because I didn't want to bring something into my collection that I would always be comparing to other brands and, you know, never get any use. However, I really love the color story. I think it's so beautiful. And I know the ColourPop quality. ColourPop was the first brand I ever started with, and I've got a lot of experience using ColourPop shadows. But I've also decluttered a lot of ColourPop because I bought some things I shouldn't have bought. They weren't the right colors for me at the very beginning of my journey. Anyway, I went into this palette with expectations of getting nothing crazy, super vibrant, or highly metallic. My expectations are light washes of soft, ethereal pastel colors with pretty shimmers. And I will say every time I have used this palette, that is exactly what I've gotten. The looks have been pretty. They haven't been standout amazing, but I don't always want a standout amazing look. Sometimes I want something that's just a little bit softer and more romantic, less va-va-voom and more sweet. So this is a nice wash of color. In the pan, it's sort of a gray sagey sort of matte, and on my skin tone, it's looking a little bit more blue, but I do have blue undertones. It is very pretty. I've used it everywhere in the crease and have blended it and buffed it out over here. Now, what should we do? I want to deepen that a bit with the shade Stormy Much. So I'm going to put that on a smaller and denser blending brush. This is a true gray-based mid-tone blue. I'm going to put this on the outer half of the lid. Oh, that's a lovely color. Ooh, I like that. I like that. That's really pretty. I'm going to deepen it one more level from here. So I'm just laying it in the outer half and blending it into the shade I just put down, which is blending quite nicely. That one was actually more pigmented than I expected it to be. It took almost no time at all. Almost no time to blend it out. Now I'm going to deepen it. I'm going to take a small blending brush and I want to deepen. Oof. I have to say, I want to bring in a little bit of green. And so I'm going to grab the shade Phenomenon with that small blending brush. I'm going to use this in the very outer corner. It's just going to make this look a little bit more, maybe Caribbean, taking the green and adding it into the blue. This Phenomenon shade is beautiful green tone. If you use it without the blues, you're obviously going to get a much truer color payoff. But I'm just smoking out this outer corner a little bit with the depth of the green. It's bringing in a slight hue, making it more of a teal look overall. Easily could have deepened this with, any of the darkest shades on the bottom row, but I wanted to play with the green. As you can see, I brought those colors onto the lower lash line, exactly mirroring the top. And now I kind of want to play with all the shimmers. What should I do? I think I'm gonna take my finger. ColourPop shimmers, for me, apply really nicely with the finger, and I don't mind doing that. I'm going to start in the shade Feelin Wavy and put this on my inner corner. Not too much of the lid space, just the inner third or maybe even a little bit less. Then I'll wipe off my fingertip and I want to grab the shade Arctic Fox, which is the light green shimmer. And I'm going to put this next to that a little bit further along, so I've got the light white shimmer fading into the light green. Wiping off my finger, now I'm grabbing the shadow in Orbit. This is the darker green shimmer. Ooh, it's like a tealy green. And I'm going to put this where the shimmers meet the mattes. And that should tie really nicely into the matte outer corner. Again, I'm not getting the most incredible high-powered metallic shine, but I'm also not expecting that. And it's okay. So I'm going back into the lighter green shimmer and just overlapping so that the center of the lid is the lighter tone instead of the darker. Yeah. And now I think just for kicks, because I'm feeling adventurous, I'll take my finger and go into the shade Lunar Trippin. This is an almost black shimmer. And I'm going to put this right in the outer corner. Cause why not? We're playing. It's fun. It's just this gradient of depth, light to dark. I think it's pretty. I don't usually use this many shimmers. This is unusual for me, but they're all so close in formula, and I'm just playing. I'm just having fun. Now I'm gonna take a small pencil brush or a small flat shader brush. This one I've been holding out on because I know what it looks like and I can't wait to play with it. This is what the brush looks like, and the shadow is called High Altitude. I know that I don't even need to spray it. I'm gonna use this on the inner corner as a highlight. And it's just such a beautiful silvery metallic. It's not incredible, but it's good. Look at it. It's good. For the waterline, I think I'll take this ColourPop Creme Gel Liner. This is the shade Aglow, and I will tightline the entire lower waterline. That's the eye look when it comes to shadows. I'm going to go off camera and line it with some black eyeliner and, kind of finish everything up over there, and I'm back in just a second. All right, guys, here's the first eye all completed. Do you like it? Do you like it? I think it's really pretty. I did an outer wing and then an inner flick, but I didn't line the rest of my lashes. This is kind of my new thing right now because I like the foxy sort of shape it gives, but without taking up the real estate of a hooded eyelid by adding black eyeliner over top of the shadows that you've laid down. So you still get the benefit of it, and because my hair is dark, my lashes are dark, and then mascara makes it darker, it might look like you have an extraordinarily thin liner on the top lashes, but I don't. It's just the outside and inside edges. I think the look is really pretty. Let me show it to you like this. This is exactly what I was expecting from this palette. So now I'm gonna jump over to the other eye. Now, because I'm using the other half of the palette, I'm focusing more on the pink and purple tones with a little bit of brown. So I'm gonna start with a dense, stubby blending brush and dip into the shade No Sleep. This is a light, sort of baby pink matte, but it definitely has lilac-y kind of undertones. And I'm gonna put this in my inner crease. Oh yeah, especially on my skin tone, you really see the purple come out. When I bought this palette, I was expecting that it was going to replace several of the monochromatic ColourPop palettes which I had recently decluttered, specifically Lilac You a Lot and All Amethyst. I really liked 2 of the mattes and all of the shimmers in the All Amethyst palette, but I decluttered it because I don't want to keep a 9-pan palette where 3 of the shades don't work for me, and that was the case with that one. And then Lilac You a Lot, I liked the color story, but it was just a little bit too, I don't know, a little too unexciting. Maybe I won't say one-dimensional, but two-dimensional, right? Because it was a monochromatic palette. And when I saw this color story, I thought, oh yeah, that is a beautiful color story. It's got the blues, it's got the purples, it's got the browns, it's got the neutrals, it's got the colors, it's got the depth, it's got everything. And it can replace those 2 palettes pretty easily. So going into these shades, I am excited about how they're performing. Now I'm going to take the shadow Bucket List with a larger blending brush. This is the blending brush that I used for the green wash of color on the other side. And I'm putting that in the rest of the crease, so the outer half of the crease or so. Don't want to overwhelm this pretty purple wash in the inner area. That's such a nice color. It's a very lilac lavender sort of color. It's very pink, but it's also quite purple at the same time. It's nice. So I'm putting this Bucket List shade on the outer crease and just buffing it out. Now with that smaller blending brush that I used before, I'm dipping into the shadow called Midnight Sun. This is the darkest purpley tone in the palette. It's kind of like a deep, oh, it's hard to tell. My lighting's not great. It looks like a deep wine color. I have to apologize, guys. I had every intention of doing a halo eye for the second eye, and that plan completely flew out of my brain when I started the second eye. So this is where we are now. I brought the same colors onto the lower lash line as I did over here, just mirroring what I had done on the top. I think it's looking really pretty, very soft. I like it a lot. And now it's time to dip into some shimmers. I want to play with shimmers that, again, I haven't seen other people really play in, just because there are so many options in here. So I'm going to start with Atmosphere. Again, taking it on my finger, it's just, I don't mind applying shimmers with my finger if they're gonna do a good job. So I'm gonna put Atmosphere way out here at the very edge of the darkest mattes. Atmosphere is sort of a dark mauve kind of shimmer. It's pretty. Now I'll wipe off my finger and dip into a lighter shimmer. Let's go with Radio Waves. I don't think I've seen anyone use Radio Waves, so taking it on my finger, and I'm gonna put that on the center of my lid. These colors on this side of the eye remind me of the It's My Pleasure palette from ColourPop, which I have also owned. Now with my finger, I'm grabbing the shade Borealis, and I'm putting that on the inner corner, or the inner third of the lid space. It's a little awkward with this hand, but that's okay. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty. Now with that small flat brush, I've taken the shade Head North. It's not sprayed because I want to see how it compares to the one on the other side, and I'm using this on my inner corner. Now there's a chance that if I had applied all of these shimmers with a sprayed brush, they might have given me a little bit more shine. I'm not interested in doing that today. I just don't really feel like it. And I think that these looks are turning out pretty enough anyway. But it's something to consider if you want a little bit more metallic shine to your looks. I always recommend spraying your shimmers. I just don't usually do them with ColourPop because I generally apply ColourPop with my finger and I'm not going to spray my finger. There. Now it's time for a waterline. I think I'll do a two-tone waterline because I completely forgot to do the halo eye, so we'll make it a smidge more interesting. Here's the shade Fluffy from ColourPop. I'll put that in the outer half. And then I will move to white, and I'll put that on the inner half. All right, so there's white on the inner corner. And now I'm going to go off camera again, do my liner, and I'll be right back. All right, here's how it all turned out in the end. Let me give you a little close-up of this eye. I'm sure Steph's Beauty Stash does that much better because her camera is probably orders of magnitude better than mine. So to finish up this side, I did the same exact thing. I did a wing and an inner corner flick, but I did not line the upper lashes. And then you already know what I put on my waterline. And then for the rest of my face, I did a little bit of blush. This is from Milani. I actually had a subscriber say I should try blush draping, and I'll be totally honest, I usually do, but I use such a small quantity of it that you probably can't even see it. But today I added a little bit more, so maybe you can see that I have a little bit of blush on my cheek. Maybe my camera's actually picking up on it, and I did bring it up here a bit. And then I am wearing the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Eclair. And then on my face for the highlighter, I have this Nomad highlighter from around the world. It's called, I think it's called Kofa Non Moonlight, and it is so beautiful. This color is basically a combination of every color in this palette. I'm gonna zoom in. Hopefully you guys can see the highlighter shade. It's sort of a blue purple iridescent, and it may not be the absolute best match for the blush that I put on, but it's so, to me, I mean, it's just a perfect representation of the palette itself. So that's everything. I was asking my daughter, which eye look should I wash off and then make match on the other side? And both of us agreed that I'm just gonna leave it like this. Honestly, all these colors together, they work so well, and I think that that's what is so appealing about this palette. Even though it's larger than I usually go for, the color story of it is, it just hits me in the feels in every way. When you want something soft, fairy-like, very ethereal, not super sparkly or super shimmery, I would say that this is a great palette for that sort of thing. If you're drawn to these blue, purple, pink tones on a more subdued scale, they're super beautiful. The performance is fine. I had absolutely no fallout on my face at all. I know some people did get fallout. Some people got a lot of fallout, but I didn't have any yet. There was certainly kick up in the pan, but none of it transferred down onto my face. I think the looks are beautiful. The formula is what I was expecting. It's not out of this world, but it's perfectly fine formula, and you can do some really lovely looks with it. So that is the video, my little 2-look, 1 palette video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Let me know if you want to see other palettes. Let me know if you want to see more looks with this one. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna go try to get a decent thumbnail picture so that you guys can see both of these looks. I appreciate you very much for watching my video. Remember to like and subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Have a good day. Bye.